What's the mark of a good hockey club? It's when you don't play your best and you still win. And the Sabres exhibited that trait last night with a 5-3 win over the New York Rangers in MSG. Zach Benson, 2 goals, his 11th and 12th, one being an empty netter. Ryan McLeod with his 13th, Alex Tuck with his 31st, Jason Zucker with his 24th, which turned out to be the game winner. So they they had a 2-1 lead after the first period, and the first period they really didn't play very well. The second period they played worse, and they allowed the Rangers to take a 3-2 lead. Rangers going 2 for 3 on the power play, but then the Sabres woke up. 3 goals in the third period, including the uh, Zucker game winner, which, if I'm a Ranger fan, I'm losing my mind. How does he get to make 3 in-close moves on Shesterkin when one of the Ranger defensemen, there were 2 there, should have put him in the third row, but they didn't. And that's something the Sabres used to do a long time ago. Well, last year and years before. It's like guys stand in front of the net. Owen Power still does, that's for sure. But they get the win. UPL was good, really good when he had to be in the second period when he was abandoned by his club, and with 17 saves, and Shesterkin with 22 saves on 26 shots he faced. So the thought was really the concern here, and I addressed it on the Rajcast with my partner Chris Holzman, which will be linked. Yesterday's episode will be linked in the comments below. Um, what was the Kesselring Timmins pairing going to look like? Because Lindy said Kesselring was going to get a game or two before the end of the year, and Connor Timmins, we're trying to work him back into the lineup sporadically as he recovers from the injury. And Lindy looking to see who he can trust in the playoffs. To be honest here, he's looking to see who can I trust looking down the bench in a tight playoff game. And you really don't want sheltered minutes because that you're not going to get the matchup on the road you want. You're going to get burned. But I thought they played well. Timmins played 16-26 and Kesselring 10-37. And one thing about Kesselring's game is he's got a decent shot from the point, and he displayed that a few times last night. So, this is where you can start to generate your tip-ins or shots from the point that are accurate like his. Um, Interesting philosophy here. Made me think of something. Um, Timmins got some minutes with Bowen Byram, and I'm wondering if this is a experiment that Lindy is trying here, um, of splitting up the second pair of Owen Power and Bowen Byram. Does he feel that the third pair could be such a liability that he's got to split that pair up and mix in Timmins with Byram and maybe Kesselring and with Power, or the 5 and 6, shuffle them the way you want. Be interesting to see how he plays the lines tonight and who's going in and how he approaches that. I mean, obviously, you're not going to break up Dahlin and Samuelson. You can't. That's your key number one team. Um, for the Rangers, Lafreniere, 2 goals, the 23rd and 24th, one on the power play, and then Adam Fox in his 9th. Speaking of the power play, Rangers went 2 for 3. So the Sabres, were in the top 5 of penalty killing. It's starting to hit a cold streak, and it's not just this game; it's been lately. So now they're in the top 10, but this is not when you want to go cold. And I get the Greenway wasn't in the lineup, but this penalty kill's got to tighten it up. The opposition has kind of figured out a few things, and the Sabres, it's up to them to adjust. And on the other side of the special teams coin, the power play, 0 for 4. And this is not the time to go cold. I think they're 17th now, 18th in the league in the power play. So that's something they have to get that going, because power plays in the playoffs, you hold them like gold, because it's so tight checking and there's not a lot of ice out there, and you're always going to be pretty much in a 1-goal game in the last 5 minutes of the third, until you can pop an empty netter or maybe get a break with the other team's pressing. So that would be a concern here. But I want to bring up a guy that had 2 goals last night, and that's Zach Benson. with Noah Ostlund out, he has been tasked with playing with Josh Doan and Josh Norris. And Benson is one of those players that I'm not worried about in the playoffs. Even though he's 5'10, 177, he plays way bigger than that. He is willing to go into dirty areas. It reminds me a little bit of Donald Audette. Now, obviously, he doesn't have the scoring touch that Donald Audette did. He was fantastic. And I still can't believe that they would not pay him and traded him away. And then that very season, they played Dallas on the Stanley Cup final. You think that maybe Audette could have helped out against those tree trunks in front of the net with the Stars in the Stanley Cup final in '99? I think he could have, but that's neither here nor there. But Benson, a first rounder in 2023, and really thrown in before he had any time to marinate in a professional situation. They threw him right into the lineup, no extensive seasoning in Rochester, and people thought he would be ruined by this point because it's happened to other guys. I mean, Casey Middlestat was thrust into the lineup, and they wound up trading him out of town, and he went to Colorado to be the number 2 center. That didn't work out. Now he's playing, a decent role for the Boston Bruins on the wing. But you don't want to ruin young players, and this speaks to the mental toughness of Zach Benson because he's just getting better. I don't know what happens if and when Ostlund comes back, where Benson slides up and down the lineup. But his versatility is another thing that you're going to need in the playoffs because there's going to be injuries. Guys are going to go out in the first round, second round, third round, final if you're lucky enough and good enough to get there. But having a guy like Zach Benson is just absolutely key when it comes playoff time. And he has no fear whatsoever. Him and Peyton Krebs. So Zach Benson wasn't ruined by this organization, thank God. And he's playing well, and he played terrific last night. On the TNT broadcast, Darren Pang brought up with a little video pack of bad giveaways the Sabres defense had in their own zone. And you really didn't need Darren Pang to tell you that as you watched the game. I don't know why Matthias Samuelsson thought it was a good idea in the first period to throw it right up the slot, but he did, and almost resulted in a goal. I saw Owen Power do it. I saw Rasmus Dahlin do it. If these guys think this is intense forecheck, wait another week and a half until it really ratcheted up. Put it that way. Yes, I can speak. Especially when they go on the road, when the opposing team the coach has the matchup advantage. They got to shake out of these habits. I mean, my God, if you don't have any help, eat the puck. It is probably the best play you can make instead of blindly throwing it up the ice when the boards are taken away from you and the glass. Eat the puck. Wait for your winger to come back. Wait for your defensive partner to get in better position to possibly receive a pass. Wait till your center comes back. I'm sure this is something that Lindy has harped on over video over and over again, but it seems that there's always still a little bit of panic in the defensive pairings game. And it's not just just the third pair, it's 1, 2, and 3. That's something that is to keep an eye on for this club because that leads to goals, and goals are at a premium in the playoffs. Other than that, though, it really was a tale of two games for the defense because in the third period, they allowed one shot against that Ranger lineup. Yeah, I get it. Panarin's not there anymore, but they still have some explosive offensive talent and really good offensive talent from the back end. And Adam Fox, who got his 9th, I believe it was, last night. So great job on the defense. I don't know what they said between the second and third. Obviously, the second was completely unacceptable, but they did a really good job. I mean, you can't really do any better except allowing no shots. They really took control of the game in the third, and everyone's talking about the philanthropic nature of Josh Doan to slide it over to Zach Benson to get him a goal. Now, my friend Chris, my podcast partner, says he's got to bury that. because what if it hits a little chunk in the ice and hops over Benson's stick and they go over all the way down the ice and score? Yes, that's true. That could be, but that wasn't the case last night. So a nice 5-3 win. I always bring up, as you know, if you watch this, defensive zone faceoffs, 8 of 18 last night, so not great. McLeod was 3 of 5, and offensive zone faceoffs, they were 9 of 19. So just not breaking that 50% barrier that they're going to need. And the reason why I keep bringing this up is because faceoffs are just paramount in the postseason. And that's something they're going to have to work on. And it's something Lindy, and this is something with Carrick being out, it doesn't help. That's for sure. And Lindy's looking for guys to trust. And if there's one guy you trust on this roster, it's Ryan McLeod to take the trust. 3 stars. Jason Zucker gets the game winner. He gets the first star. Ryan McLeod, the aforementioned, goal and assist, 2 points, gets the second star. And Lafreniere, Alexi, gets the third star with 2 goals. And boy, does he have a dangerous shot. 4th star on the Raj Tube today goes to Zach Benson. 2 goals, and boy, he plays some mean minutes. And he will go into those spots where a lot of people fear to tread. So keep an eye on him in the playoffs. He's gonna be one I'm not gonna be worried about. So Columbus comes to town tonight. They got 90 points. They're 2 points out of third in the Metro, 2 points out of the wild card. The Bruins having the last wild card number 2 spot, and the surprising Philadelphia Flyers now resting with 92 points and third in the Metro. So you're going to get their best again. The last time these two teams saw each other is when Columbus broke the 10-game winning streak on January 3rd, beating the Sabres 5-1 in a real no-show effort by the Sabres on a Saturday afternoon. And that's where one of the turning points of the season happened in the next game, because everyone was saying, all right, are you going to go into your typical Sabres slide after a long winning streak that we've seen in the last 5 to 6 years and go into your 8-game tailspin, which they did, and they came out and beat Vancouver pretty convincingly, and away they went. So one good thing about tonight is Matthew Olivier is not in the lineup, because he's I put him up there with Tom Wilson as one of the most dangerous players in the league. He'll beat the living hell out of whoever Sabre wants to fight him. And he hits clean, and he hits hard. And there's a reason why he's got that big contract now in Columbus, and I don't blame him. He would be somebody I would pursue. I would overpay for in the offseason. But this Columbus team is not without talent. Obviously, Zach Werenski, who basically made the play in the Olympic gold medal game for the U.S. against Canada, sliding it over, fighting off Kel McCarr and sliding it over to Hughes for the game winner. For the gold medal game winner, is in town. 22 goals, 58 assists for 80 points. So he's going to be a problem. And Kirill Marchenko, 26 goals, 39 assists, 65 points. And you can't forget Michigan's own Adam Fantilli, 23 goals, 33 points, and 33 assists, 56 points. They're in the bottom third in the power play and penalty kill. Penalty kill can be decent. Charlie Coyle is a great penalty killer, but they are in the bottom third in the special teams department. So be a nice night for the Sabres power play to go like a 2 for 3, 2 for 4 situation and keep Columbus off the board. As Alex Lyon will get the start. Obviously, UPL played last night. He'll get the night off. And Jeff Graves will get the net for the Columbus Blue Jackets. So another playoff hungry team. They have to win. They were sitting here in town today after the morning skate saying, guys, we have no more runway. We can't fuck around. We got to win tonight. So interesting to see how the Sabres respond against a desperate team again on a back-to-back. Boy, regular season's winding down. Game 80 tonight, and the playoffs are on the horizon, and we'll see how they play tonight.